Alright, so I know it's been a little while since I posted a video, since I watched the Bridegroom movie. But I wanted to talk about one of the things that kind of bothers me a lot. Um, it's not just like necessary bullying or discrimination or anything like that, but mostly in school. Um, I remember when I went to school, particularly high school, there was a lot of gay slurs, faggot this and queer that, and some other really bad ones. I mean, I was homeschooled from third grade to sixth grade, um, so I kind of missed like a good chunk of public schools. But when I went back in seventh grade, it was kind of like a shock to me. Um, I knew I was different than everybody else, but I didn't know exactly what gay meant. I just knew that I liked boys instead of girls. Um, but I remember what it was like being different than everybody else, being picked on. Um, Even when I wrestled, when I ran cross country, the slurs was still there, and you were always different, and they always treated you different. There was always it's kind of like you always got treated secondhand. It was double standard. Is what I was looking for. Um, but I don't know if y'all seen some of the statistics that I posted earlier today, but I just want to read them off again. 97% of students in public high schools report regularly hearing homophobic remarks from their peers, other students. 97%. That's ridiculous. 53% of students report hearing homophobic comments made by school staff. So more than half of the staff is making homophobic slurs or comments. 78% of school administrators say that they don't know of any lesbian, gay, or bisexual students in their school, but 94% of them claim they feel their schools are safe places for these young people. Yet 97% of students say that they hear homophobic remarks. Don't make sense. 45% of gay males and 20% of lesbians report having experienced verbal harassment and or physical violence as a result of their sexual orientation during high school. 15% of LGBT youth have been injured so badly in a physical attack at school that they had to seek services of a doctor or a nurse. So, pretty much this is starting out like at a really, really young age when we're just trying to figure out ourselves, figure out who we are, what we like, what we don't like. And then I don't know where these people are getting it from, but I know when I was growing up, my parents they won't they weren't really fond of gays. I mean, I was raised in a small town in North Carolina. I mean, less than 300 people in my town, so a backwoods Southern Baptist is what it was. But I don't know where it's starting, but this is something that we need to figure out, where it's starting, um, and kind of nip it in the bud while it's like in the beginning. Um, and what I can't figure out is why, even across the whole LGBT community, heterosexual community, whoever, why we haven't started, why nobody's even picked up on where it's starting. It's starting while kids are young. There was also like another statistic that I was reading saying that most guidance counselors, like a good chunk of guidance counselors in schools, aren't prepared to handle a LGBT student, LGBT youth. And a lot of them didn't feel comfortable with it, just point blank. So if a child is being abused at home, verbally or physically, they're going to school and being abused verbally or physically, and they can't go talk to their guidance counselor because one, they don't feel like talking to them because they're gay, and then two, they don't feel confident enough. I mean, where are these guys going? They're going exactly to overdosing. They're going to blowing their brains out, which is stupid. Why don't we go ahead and stop it at the beginning? Why don't we have guidance counselors in schools that are LGBT friendly? Why don't we have programs? Why don't we have groups? Why don't we have clubs that are LGBT friendly in schools? What's what's so frightening about the LGBT community that we don't have any of this stuff in these schools where homosexuals and lesbians are at the most fragile? The least that we could do is come up with some sort of, you know, chat line or email or something that these kids can take and get in contact with somebody close to their age, somebody that understands and has been through that recently, and can talk to them about it. I mean, who knows? One person could take and save somebody from committing suicide, and to me, that would be worth it. It's like having these support lines and support groups for young LGBT youth or young adults even that have been recently diagnosed with HIV and AIDS. Sex ed teachers trying to talk about sex to youth that are the same age as their parents. Kids don't absorb everything that these people say because they don't feel comfortable talking to these people about it. That's why these chat lines, these websites, these groups, these clubs, these kinds of things, we need to have young people in. Yeah, I understand the older people have the experience, but that's fine. The older people can have the experience, but they need to share that with the people like my age, so that way we can take and talk to these younger people and get them to understand and that, look, just because you get picked on, in school, don't mean that, you need to take and resort to something as far as for taking your life. But I strongly believe that if we took and had some sort of system, some sort of support for young LGBT youth, that maybe the suicide rate would drop. Maybe you wouldn't have so many violent attacks in school. Maybe you wouldn't have so many racial slurs. The average student hears 25 and a half racial slurs at school a day. That 25 and a half a day just at school. That's not coming home and hearing it at home. That's not hearing it on the radio. That's not hearing it at the grocery store. That's not hearing it in between. That's just at school. So me personally, I think that, you've got the National Guard, you've got the Reserves, you've got the Navy, you've got, the Future Business Leaders of America, you've got JROTC, you've got FFA, you've got, Future Teachers of America, you've got all of these other groups for business leaders and marketing and accountants and farmers and agriculture and, servicemen, all these other things. Why don't we have something for LGBT? Why don't we just have maybe a group that meets once a month just to take and come in and talk about their problems? Kind of like an anger management group, but a group for kids who feel and are going through the find me stage and figuring out who they are, just to take and talk about it. I mean, I didn't have nobody to take and talk to when I was coming up, and I wish I did, because I probably would have done a few things in my life a little bit different. But look at me now. I mean, I'm doing okay, I think. Could be better, could be worse. But I think we need to take and get some kind of support system in these schools and start supporting these kids in the beginning instead of waiting until they're already broken or waiting until they're already cracked and fragile. I'm not really sure where to start, but I mean, it could start somewhere as simple as, sending an email to HRC and getting the ball rolling with them, or maybe your governor or your senate or something like that. Stand in front of the governor's house or your city's capital and picket it. I don't know. That's something I got to figure out, but I think that it's something that needs to be caught in the beginning. Stop it while it's still young and early and before it gets out of control. And let's help fix these kids and heal them before they get too far gone. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all have any kind of suggestions, please. This is one of my big goals, and what I want to accomplish is to have some kind of public support system within schools that LGBT youth can take and go to when they need help, when they need somebody to talk to, whether it be about the weather or whether it be about sex or whether it be about cars, music, whatever. We just need to have somebody that they can talk to, somebody that they feel comfortable talking to, instead of just a guidance counselor who pretends that they care. Let's put somebody in there that actually cares. Let me know, guys, what you think, and let's get the ball rolling, and let's get these kids some help, because the suicide rate of teens is ridiculous. So, let me know what y'all think. Hope y'all have a safe and happy Halloween, and don't eat too much candy. Thanks, guys.